let's turn to the phone lines right now in the Honda Insider Report right now. A good friend of the program. Welcome back, John Barry. How you been, John?
Rich, I'm good. Before we get started, I have to say,
yes.
2 weeks I've watched the show on Sunday, and what has happened to your athleticism? Or did you ever have any?
Wow.
That you can't guard Mooch. Balls off your fingertips. I mean, you have no elevation.
Yes.
No hands. I mean, pathetic.
Well, John,
is that not 2 weeks in a row that you've?
Well, no, actually,
Mooch?
it was in one single show last week where Thomas Davis was making his point from the middle of the set and threw a football to Mariucci in the other end of the set. I decided to try and pick off the football twice in the same show. Both times I could not get up high enough and ended up tip drilling it to Mooch. Would you like to know the reason why, John?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, tell me.
My jacket was in such a way that my arms couldn't get up high enough each time. It was the jacket. I'm blaming it on my tailor, John.
Okay, I thought it might have been the phone book that was on the ground that you couldn't jump over.
Yeah, I mean, it's, plus the shoes that I had on, they were loafers. I mean, if they were lace-ups, I think I might have had the better opportunity.
Well, look, all right. I didn't know it was the same show. I'm giving you credit that I watched your show 2 weeks in a row.
I appreciate that, though.
Leave it at that.
Bless you, John Barry, and I'm sorry about your Falcons. I apologize about that.
Well, I live in Atlanta, but I mean, between them and the Georgia Bulldogs, it's been tough here in Atlanta, in the state of Georgia. But for me, I'm okay. I'm a Niner guy.
Okay, there we go. Very good. And you got the bright future of Jimmy G. There's no question about that.
Let's pay him.
They will. Don't worry. Why do you think there's been so much anger amongst players this year, certainly in the recent days, John?
Well, I heard your point about referees, and maybe there is some frustration there, and then maybe guys are taking it out on each other. That could be a valid point. I really don't know. What I do know, I don't like to see fighting, but I'm not opposed to this. That this shows me that guys are caring. I like this better than guys high-fiving and laughing and joking around with one another that we've seen because of all the money that we have in this game and all the friendships that these guys have. This shows me guys care. So I like the intensity. I like that guys are getting after it. I don't like to see guys throwing punches. I don't like to see guys getting fined and getting thrown out of games. But I like the passion. I mean, at least people are going after it.
So let's put the refereeing thing aside and take this one at a time. If you're Adam Silver, what do you do with the Rockets and Clippers with what happened the other night?
Yeah, it's happened before. Guys have tried to meet in the back of the arena when you get underneath. Most locker rooms are accessible to one another down a hallway. So it's happened before. People have met in the hallway. I don't think it's going to be too much. Did you see the funny – I saw a funny tweet, by the way, of Chris Paul that they said, finally Chris Paul led his team somewhere. I thought that was – kind of cold.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think it's going to be anything severe. They might get a game, all those guys that went over there. Now they're saying Clint Capella knocked on the front door to try to get the attention over there. Like, come on. I mean, these guys couldn't put together a plan this good in a span of a minute after the game. But nonetheless, I don't think that anything will happen. I mean, I've seen it before. Guys have screamed and yelled down the hallway trying to get to one another. And look, the guys don't want to get into doing that. And we're all fake fighters in the NBA.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, too. It's just who's more fake fighters, NBA or baseball players, right?
Yeah, well, at least baseball, they have a shot to do it, and their fines are considerably less. So if you really want to get after somebody in the major leagues, you got a great shot to do it. But in the NBA, it's going to cost you a lot of money, so guys know that. And I don't think they want to get into that.
Okay. So what about the officiating, John Barry? I mean, we saw the other night where Russell Westbrook got hammered going to the basket. It was instead called a travel. He gets teed up so fast, he's gone. Carmelo says he's done with the refs. Draymond wants all 70 of them replaced. What has happened this year between the officials and the players, as best you can tell, John?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of new guys, and we've lost a lot of veteran officials over the past 4 or 5 years. And I think Carmelo is right. I mean, if you go back 10, 15, 20 years ago, even longer than that, there was a longer rope that you could get upset. A referee would allow you to kind of vent a little bit, and then he'd tell you to calm down. That's enough, and then you comply. And I think there is a quick trigger right now. A lot of these guys are and we don't see Russell Westbrook thrown out. He gets hit in the face, obviously a missed call. I mean, you got to walk away. Don't turn your back like the NCAA official and try to show up any players. But you got to give them a little bit of a rope. You tell them, hey, enough, and just let these guys play. But it's a very difficult job. I mean, we look at replay and guys are still getting it wrong. So how can you do it at full-time speed? It's very difficult. These guys are trying to do the best they can do. But, again, I think there needs to be some dialogue. They need to get together. Adam Silver is a guy that will take care of this. I'm sure something around the All-Star break, something will be done. And, look, we're all in this together, and hopefully they figure something out.
Well, what is it? I mean, the officials' representatives, along with the Players Association, maybe Chris Paul, who's a leader in that regard, they all get together and hash it out and then spread the word, essentially?
Yeah. I don't know what's there is to do. I mean, there's got to be some dialogue. Look, any communication between both parties has got to be good, and you got to come to some common ground. But again, I think it's a very difficult job. These guys are playing for a lot, and there's a lot of intensity out there, and it's it is what it is. I can't explain exactly what's going through the referees' minds, but I do know it's a very, very difficult job, and hopefully we can get this thing fixed.
Couple more minutes left with John Barry here in the Honda Insider Report, ESPN NBA analyst and ESPN.com's Dave McMenamin with an interesting piece out of Cleveland just a couple of days ago, John, saying that some members of the organization, some members of the team are wondering if this is the first time that whatever January doldrums are occurring, that there will not be a switch flipped, that this may be the Cavs team that we see. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm not in that camp. I did the Warrior Cleveland game on radio Monday night, and I don't see it that way. I still think with LeBron James on that team, that's still the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. I know it looks ugly now. They're in a 3-9 stretch, but they're trying to bring back Isaiah Thomas, who is a phenomenal player the year he had last year. If he can regain that form, I think this team will put it together. I saw no panic from Tyronn Lue, the head coach, as we spoke before the ball game. I don't see it that way, and I'd be surprised if players were saying that they don't think that this is going to happen. I think there's some guys that are frustrated with their roles, Tristan Thompson being one. Dwayne Wade is not real comfortable, I think, in his role. But at the end of the day, you have LeBron James, the best player in basketball, and you have plenty of talent on the team. I think they put it together. I don't think they're at DEFCON 5 just yet.
So, and I know that Anthony Davis had a hell of a night in Boston and just beat the Celtics in overtime last night. But you don't think the Celtics are the team to beat in the East right now with the way that they've played?
No, I don't. I mean, LeBron's been in the final 7 or 8 straight years. And they, like I said, they have the talent around them. They're just not playing well right now. They have a malaise seemingly every year, and they're in one now. Trust me, in a month and a half after the All-Star break, they'll be cruising right along, and they'll be looking like the team that'll be in the finals.
You think Luke Walton's the right coach for the Lakers, John?
I absolutely do, and I'm waiting for Rob Pelinka to come out and let everybody know that. I'm surprised that you're going to let LeVar Ball go off and say this, and you don't have your coaches back.
Well, I mean, Jeannie Buss did tweet out that she was flying out to have dinner, and Irvin Magic Johnson tweeted something from Hawaii. And that was, by the way, a day after Windhorst came on this show and basically said the reason why they're not saying anything is they really don't have his back. So what camp do you put yourself in, John?
Well, I don't know. Obviously, they can answer that. If Luke's not their guy, I'd be surprised if that's the case. I know they're not the ones that hired him. But even if they don't have his back, you should come out and act like you support him for right now for the betterment of your team. If you want to make a move and do something in the offseason, that's entirely up to you. But for right now, that makes it a very difficult work atmosphere for the rest of these guys. A lot of them getting talked about in trades, and if you know that the coach possibly doesn't have backing of the front office, it's not an enviable place to be. And you saw this team; they really, really struggled, playing a little better of late. But I think they should come out and really have Luke's back, and I believe in Luke Walton. I think he's a terrific young coach.
John, appreciate the time. Hopefully this week, I've got a 6-hour game day morning. I might have 2 or 3 opportunities to pick one off, and you bet I'm going to get up there this time, John. I'm going to work on the hammies this week, and I'm going to get up there.
I certainly hope. I'll be tuning in.
Excellent.
And looking forward to the Patriots winning another Super Bowl.
Okay. Is that your pick?
How can you not?
I don't know, man. I mean, what you saw from Minnesota, I mean, don't you think that they've got the defense in somewhat of a football god situation that they could be playing a home game for the Super Bowl?
I didn't like that second half defense.
Okay. There you go. That's the
They
insight.
shouldn't even be playing, let's be honest.
That happened, though. The game's 60 minutes long, John.
I get it.
Okay.
I get it.
All right, we'll chat soon. Always appreciate. Take care, Pop. That's John Barry.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.